early on at LucasArts, it was very frustrating to deal with because we had a universe that we understood. Well, when I say we, like collectively, the Star Wars people know what Star Wars is. But we were a licensee just like anybody else, even though we were still owned by George. We were we were technically a licensee, so we had to get everything approved. And and it became extremely difficult around the time of Mysteries of the Sith because, well, if you remember, so Jedi Knight 2 or Jedi Knight, sorry, Dark Forces Jedi Knight had lightsaber wielding enemies in it, right? But when we started making Mysteries of the Sith, the same time George was starting to formulate what the prequels would be. And that meant he was coming up with what the Sith would become, and there can be only two, and all those rules that he put in the prequels. So a lot of our stuff got shot down. Basically, what you do as a licensee is you put together like a, like a design doc with here are the enemies we're going to use, here are the force powers we're going to use. If you're making up a new character, here's their backstory and all this stuff. So it goes to licensing. They have a team of people who look at it and they're like, check stuff off or approve stuff, change this name or whatever, or this is already an existing planet, or why don't you use this planet or whatever. So they make suggestions and things like that. But again, this was before a lot of the stuff now that it was in the early days, so licensing didn't really know. So we would submit this packet of information, and they would just say no. And you'd ask why, and they would say just no, right? And so like we had all these Jedi enemies that we had planned, and they were just like no. And it made sense later now because George had this rule of only two Sith. So and only I think it was like only Jedis can have lightsabers, and there can be only two Sith. I think there was the rules that we were working with, and so all of our ideas got scrapped. And so that's where the Sith undead came from in Mysteries of the Sith, is because we would start to I think we actually threw them in as a joke. And they were like, okay, yeah, you cut the lightsabers, cut the Sith. Nobody can have lightsabers. Sith undead, sure, yeah, you can have those guys. And we were like, what? Okay, well, I guess that's our only enemy. We have Sith undead who can shoot force lightning at you. So yeah, they never said in those days, they never came up with suggestions or never gave us reasons why. They just said no. So you continually have to like keep submitting new drafts and new documents until it gets that approval. Disney owning it, I think, has made it easier to allow more flexibility in the universe. So you get Cal Kestis, you get I'm blanking on the girl's name in Outlaws, the new character that they're creating for Star Wars Outlaws, and you get all those other Jedi in the media experiences. So it's become a lot easier to tell new stories, and I think they're actually responding with like, hey, you should try this, or hey, you should use this, rather than just a straight no.